there's no place like home for the holidays. And no matter how far away you roam, if you pine for the sunshine of a friendly gaze, for the holidays you can.
Welcome back to Horror for the Holidays, a Christmas horror movie podcast. I'm Jay Logsdon.
And I'm Jeff Searcy, but I'm on strike, Jay.
Why are you on strike, Jeff?
I'm on strike because we subverted the will of the wheel and we were punished yet again. And, you know, I was harassed again by the spirit from beyond the grave.
Oh shit, he's back?
Mm-hmm. He said, Jay Logsdon have subverted the will of the wheel, and now you must suffer this transgression. And I was like, that doesn't really seem fair, spirit. And the spirit was like,
Weird.
I know. Weird. But anyway, yeah, so Jay subverted the wheel again, and we got this.
We got this. Yeah, I mean, once again, I don't consider it subverting the will of the wheel. It popped up with a Silent Night, Deadly Night 3. We just did Silent Night, Deadly Night 2 earlier. Like, if it was next month, I'd have no problem doing it.
All this is a fancy way of saying Jay Logsdon subverted the will of the wheel. And now we've been punished.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's right. We have been punished. We'll talk about 2017's Red Christmas.
Or 2016,
Or 2016 in Australia.
I've seen both. It's like, yeah, in the rest of the world, 2017's Red Christmas.
Released August 25th, 2017. I mean,
terrible time for a Christmas horror movie.
Yeah, if you're getting ready for like fall and stuff, yeah, we'll just drop a Christmas horror movie on you. I mean, arguably a worse time to release it would have been in Australia, June 17th.
Yes, also bad.
Plenty of, right in time for Christmas in July.
But it's like August, it's going to be super hot. You're not even going to be thinking about Christmas at that point.
Then again, all I know in Australia, that's the problem, is because it's Australia, like Christmas in Australia, it's very warm and that's their summer. That's the height of summer for them. Christmas here, it's winter.
Well, I mean, Christmas in the majority of the world is in winter.
Yeah,
the majority that celebrates it.
And so releasing it in August, you're going like, oh, well.
I mean, that gets to a fundamental problem with this movie too, Jay. Is Australian Christmas does not feel like Christmas to anybody but them.
Well, and then it's D. Wallace being. I mean, I had already said D. Wallace. Being American and being like, yeah, this is how we celebrate Christmas. So it's a lot of American Christmas trappings.
She and Joe are both American, and just inexplicably, and then everyone else is Australian.
Written and directed by Craig Anderson. On the last episode, I said it was D. Wallace's Red Christmas. The actual title is Craig Anderson's Red Christmas.
It's Craig Anderson's D. Wallace's Red Christmas, Jay.
He's done a lot of work in the Australian film industry. That's about all I can say.
He's done work.
As we mentioned, Dee Wallace, she stars as Diane. You know her from Critters, Cujo, E.T., The Howling, The Hills Have Eyes, the original one, Rob Zombie's Halloween, stuff.
It gave me some hope, Jay, to see her name on it, and my hope was dashed.
Sam Campbell plays our villain Cletus. I believe it's Sam Bazooka Campbell was what he was on the credits in the movie.
Oh, yes.
Which, when I saw that, I went, oh, man, that's a great name. And then, instantly dashed.
And then we saw what he did.
Jeff Morrell, who plays Joe, was Waldrig in Rings of Power.
Ugh, God. Yet another horrible thing.
David Collins, who is Peter, is going to be in Mad Max Furiosa. So that's pretty exciting.
You going to be in that with Thor, Jay?
Is Thor going to be in Mad Max Furiosa?
Yeah, Thor's like the main villain.
Oh, cool.
They just put a bad prosthetic nose on him.
Sarah Bishop, who plays Susie, is also the star of that Adult Swim show, YOLO Silver Destiny, which I've seen a couple episodes of. It looks very bonkers and weird and funny.
Oh. Quick side note about Mad Max Furiosa. I'm not typecasting Chris Hemsworth as Thor. They literally have him wearing a red cape in the movie.
That's very funny.
They're going for it.
He's Thor, but with a weird nose.
He's Junkyard Thor.
Gerard O'Dwyer plays my favorite character, Jerry.
Oh, yeah.
Jerry's the star of the show. He's one of those Poochie from Itchy and Scratchy, where every scene Jerry's not in, I'm like, what's Jerry up to? I want to know what Jerry's doing.
It's the same way Jay is with Rick and Morty. He's like, what's up with Jerry?
Yeah, I do want to know what's up with Jerry. Matt Dupay's Scary Little Christmas puts the budget of this at about $200,000. Says there is a sequel planned, Red Christmas 2, Coffin Birth.
No. No, there's not. Call Matt and tell him to say no. Change it in the book.
Filmed in New South Wales, Australia. A documentary called Horror Movie, A Low-Budget Nightmare was made about the production of this movie, which, I mean, that's pretty fitting.
Yeah.
That kind of tells you everything you need to know, I think. Tagline, the only thing under the tree is terror.
See, decent tagline, too. They get you because the box looks really cool. The killer art they have on there, cool. He's holding a Christmas present.
Do you want to explain?
All right, so basically what we're looking at is a cloaked figure in a skull mask holding a bloody Christmas present where it's like leaking out of the seams of the present, still wrapped up. And then in bright, bold red font, you have Craig Anderson's Red Christmas.
And like a Christmas tree background on him.
Yep, some lights and stuff in soft focus.
It was another one of those where I think after we watched the movie, I turned to Jeff and I went, I want to see this movie. Mm-hmm. And like I pointed at the cover.
Yep, it's definitely another example of the cover being stronger than the movie it's on. Because yeah, that killer looks way more interesting than what we got.
Personal experience with this movie, I don't really have any. It was one of those where when we were first kind of planning out the movie or planning out the podcast, I had I'd gone through Tubi and like cataloged every single Christmas horror movie I could find. So I added this to the list. And that's about all I know about it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'd seen it on the list. You mentioned it briefly. I think it was last year when we were talking about possible next movies before we started using the wheel. Mm. And yeah, that's pretty much all I'd ever heard about it, and probably for good reason.
Maybe did we have a question about it on the Christmas horror movie quiz?
I don't think we did.
Oh, did we not? Okay.
No, I don't think we did.
But yeah, not much. Streaming, Pluto.
I mean,
Prime.
I scoured the internet for like people reviewing this movie, people talking about it, and there's really not a whole lot. I found a few that were like, it was okay, and then a few people that were like, it was terrible, and then I think like one or two people on Letterboxd were like, it's an unappreciated masterpiece, because there's always those couple of guys for every movie.
No, there's not it's streaming places. You can find it pretty easily,
yeah.
I think.
I mean, it seems readily available. I mean, it's even up for free on YouTube if you want to just search for it.
Well, and I think it does probably suffer from the fact that there's maybe 2 other movies named Red Christmas.
Yes.
Certainly one, but
yes, this particular movie is up. Lots of people have watched the free YouTube version, but there's really no discussion about it.
But yeah, that's it. I own a physical copy. I think I got it from fye.com. So, I mean, that tells you.
I mean, the main sentiment I've seen online about it in the small group of people discussing it has been that the killer is too sympathetic, and that's one of the things that drags the movie down.
It is really weird. We'll get into it, but yeah, I have like a real issue with like, what is the message of this movie? And I think it's furthered by the fact that in Matt's book, he literally, like, I think Craig Anderson literally says, yeah, there's no message. I just kind of like, I'm just showing, almost like I'm showing every side, so I'm not picking a side or something stupid like that.
We'll get into it, but at the end of the movie, you're left scratching your head as to why this was made.
Real fast, this is another movie where there's a bunch of people are related. And they're all, while they're not interchangeable because they all kind of fill different roles, like it's hard to remember all their names.
I was gonna say they fill different roles, but they're not distinct enough to stick out in your memory, and that's another big weakness of this movie.
So we've got Diane, played by Dee Wallace. We've got Joe, who is Diane's brother / I don't know, maybe it feels like a couple times it's implied that like he's her boyfriend or something like that.
They're definitely brother and sister, but yes, it also seems like they might fuck once in a while.
Hope, who is the youngest daughter, she's adopted. Jenny, who I think is probably the oldest daughter.
Hope is the slut archetype, right?
Yeah, I think that's kind of what they're going for. Or no, Jenny's kind of like a hippie, kind of like she and her husband are constantly fucking. And then
Hope is the one that's pregnant, right?
No, that's Jenny.
Oh, is it?
Hope's like the artist, like the slacker.
Oh, okay.
And then Jenny and her husband Scott. Jenny's pregnant, and like she's real hippie. She dresses in real like floral print, kind of like they're constantly smoking pot, I think, is one of the things in the movie. And then you got the prudish other sister Susie, who's the middle daughter, and her pastor husband Peter,
who for some reason wears his collar everywhere.
And then Diane's son Jerry, who has Down syndrome. So that's kind of our whole cast and crew of the main family of this movie. So we start off, we have an abortion protest of a clinic with who we will learn is Diane inside getting an abortion. A religious fanatic wearing a priest collar bombs the clinic. I wonder if the reason Peter was wearing the collar the whole movie was to maybe cast doubt on who the killer was, except for the fact that that doesn't work because we know who the killer is the whole time.
We know what I mean. That was so fucking, it was terrible, Jade. To have them string this out like it's some kind of big mystery. What's going on? It's like we literally guessed it as soon as he came on screen.
And then Diane's baby is aborted. She and kind of the doctors flee in the aftermath of the explosion, and the bomber finds the still alive baby that Diane aborted and takes it with him out of the clinic.
Yeah, sure.
And then we get our title card, Red Christmas, with opening scenes like in skewed with the with scenes of like this priest bomber religious fanatic raising this child in like setting that kind of looks like if Kane were coming to the ring to battle the Undertaker.
It does have that kind of vibe.
It's just all red in every single scene, just red light.
See, that's what it's like. It's weird because some scenes are lit really well and like really professionally, and then other scenes are like lit like it was done by a part-time TV guy.
What we will learn is 20 years later. At the moment, we think just time has passed, but we will later learn that is 20 years later. Diane and Jerry, Hope, Jenny, Scott, and Joe are all getting ready for Christmas dinner and waiting for Peter and Susie to arrive. They arrive, and there's already kind of tension in the air, I think, between the whole family. Like, it's clear that everyone doesn't get along and they all kind of bicker, but it seems like it's in good spirits early on in the movie, but it more becomes apparent that it's not as the movie goes on. Mm-hmm. At one point, Peter looks at Hope's art piece, which she calls post cringe, but it's a car with the words "Le Sex Tank" on the side. Which, I mean, I think for me, I was just more pointing out that that Peter's very interested in sex, as we will learn here in a couple minutes. Jerry loves to quote Shakespeare, which is a great aspect of his character. He'll just constantly cut into like Shakespeare quotes, and it's just fantastic.
Yes, good to break up the tension.
We learn that Hope is allergic to peanuts because someone left some peanuts out.
Well, Jay. Not just someone left some peanuts out. They're literally everywhere, all over the house through the entire movie. And there's peanut butter there. And at one point, Hope tries to eat some peanuts out of the bowl. What, does she not remember that she's deathly allergic to them?
Jenny and Scott sneak off to fuck.
And this is why I say Jenny is the slut archetype, because she literally can't sit at a family function for more than 5 minutes without going off to fuck her husband. Literally, like, a room down the hall?
Right.
Where everyone would hear what's going on.
Peter opens the door and starts spying on them and, like, gets on the ground, I don't know, so he can masturbate in the hallway? I don't know.
Suppose.
And then Joe kind of catches him, and he's like, oh, I dropped my keys, and he, like, hurries off, and Joe's just kind of laughing about the whole thing, like he's okay with just a pervisoid creeping on like someone else.
I'm pretty sure Joe is banging his sister, so I don't think he has that many sexual hang-ups.
And so then Peter runs into like the room that he and Susie are staying in. Susie goes looking for him, and he goes and hides in the closet to masturbate. And then he's like hiding in the closet, like waiting for his wife to leave, and then Diane walks in and basically tries to convince Susie to get IVF because they've been struggling to have kids, and all this is going on while Peter is in the closet trying to masturbate.
Can a guy masturbate around here, Jay?
Can a guy masturbate in peace around here?
Apparently not. Oh, don't forget, Jay. I believe this is where it cuts away to our first shot of Cletus, right?
Oh, yeah, we're about to get to that. I did want to mention one thing. Susie isn't interested in the IVF treatment because, like, it's God's will or some shit.
Yes, apparently it's God's will. even though it's also not God's will, but we'll get to that later.
Yeah. Meanwhile, a robed and hooded Cletus approaches a farmer, telling him he's looking for his mother's house. The farmer pushes him down and chastises him, and Cletus recites the Lord's Prayer, to which like the farmer's like, the Lord didn't have the Lord didn't have any plans for you.
I'm gonna take a piss on you, boy.
Yeah, and then he decides to, he tells Cletus he's gonna put him out of his misery and starts pissing on him for whatever reason.
Why Cletus? Why did they pick Cletus?
It's such a weird name. Is Cletus a name in Australia?
I don't think it is.
Cletus then, as he's getting pissed on, rips off the dude's dick.
Yep.
And then we see him leaving the guy's house. I thought maybe Cletus cleaned himself up, but it is later mentioned that he smells like piss.
Well, see, I thought this might be, from that scene, I thought this might be more of like a horror comedy. But it turns out, no, they're just doing really silly kills.
Yeah, like, so he leaves the dude's house, and then the dude's head is just, like, shoved into a circular saw. Great gore effects, but, like, it's all kind of implied in that scene.
I had the same reaction when the girl, you've seen Hereditary, right, Jay?
No, but I know what I know the scene you're talking about.
She gets her head knocked off.
Yep.
I was like, so is this, like, a scary movie type thing, or is it, like, parodying the indie horror movies? I got that same feeling when he ripped the dick off.
Yep. But yeah, that's a common thing in this movie. I think the gore effects are great, but like half the time we don't actually see the full gore effects.
Yes.
They do a really nice job of like implying the gore and cutting away from it. But like you do kind of see it. But like when you do see the gore, like the gore effects are awesome. Like,
no, the kills are awesome. Problem is they don't really fit in with the tone of the story. Like, in a story that's trying to take itself seriously, you really don't want your killer ripping off somebody's dick. Or,
right.
Like, literally splitting them in half with their axe. Things like that belong more in, like, a horror comedy.
The family gathers around the Christmas tree. They say what they're thankful for. At one point, and like, already people are starting to bicker with each other. At one point, Joe says he's thankful for medical marijuana. And Jerry says he's thankful for his god, the Bard.
God, so great.
Fucking love Jerry. He's fantastic. Cletus then arrives with a letter for his mother. Ooh, I wonder who his mom could be.
Who could it be?
Everyone's super weirded out by the man wearing a cloak and wrapped in bandages. Hope tells Diane that he's creepy and smells like urine, so we know that Cletus didn't wash up after getting pissed on.
Nope.
They give Cletus a present, to which is a jar of peanuts, and we learn, once again reiterating that Hope is allergic to peanuts. And Cletus has never received a present before and doesn't know what a present is, but knows of Jesus being given presents. I don't know. It's very strange.
I guess, yeah. You see, Jay, we have to have a priest on hand to explain to us that the 3 wise men gave Jesus gifts, so that's why we give each other gifts.
Cletus reads his letter, and he mentions the bombing at the abortion clinic, and they kick Cletus out of the house. And then Joe threatens Cletus, and Diane throws the jar of peanuts at him and hits him in the head with it. And it's really just once again, just like a weird comedy moment in this horror movie.
Well, and this sets the tone for another big problem with this movie. D. Wallace reacts really negatively to him showing up and just continues to deny any relationship to him throughout the entire movie, which I think lends a little bit to that sympathy thing people were talking about with the movie. He says, yes, he's a terrible person, obviously, but it's really not even a drop of sympathy from his mom.
Right. It's so weird.
I mean, basically there's 2 villains. There's D. Wallace, and then there's Cletus.
The family fights in the aftermath as Cletus cries in the woods, and God Rest Ye Merry Gentlemen plays in the background. Great little scene, but it goes on for way too long. We get multiple scenes of the family bickering and Cletus in the woods, and then you think it's done, and then the family continues bickering, and Cletus continues to cry in the woods, and this goes on for maybe 5 minutes.
It's because this feels like yet another short film that was stretched into a feature-length movie.
Cletus comes back after the sun has set, as Hope kind of cleans up outdoors after the whole family was having their Christmas activities. Hope finds the jar of peanuts with all the peanuts strewed around on the ground, and the lights kind of flash off behind her, or are flashing behind her, and Ginny and Susie are kind of fighting indoors, so no one hears as Cletus splits her in half with an axe.
Not just, like, oh, he gives her a good chop. No, literally in half.
We get a great scene. Like I said, they do a good job of kind of hiding the things that I could think they couldn't, that they couldn't shoot well. And so it's like, it suddenly cuts to like Hope's feet, and then you watch like literally 1 foot fall one way and 1 foot fall the other way, as like after the axe comes down.
Yeah, good way to not have to do the torso shot.
Jenny and Scott discover the body, and everyone rushes outside as Cletus cuts the power to the house. Joe calls the police on his cell phone as the family runs back inside.
And now we have our first big plot hole, Jay, that doesn't make any sense. So the police have been called, the family is safe and all together, and yet they choose to split up and look for car keys.
Yep, they look for car keys. Joe looks to go put the power on back in the house. They've all run inside. Now, I think it's later revealed that like there's a window that they can't latch because there's a door that's broken to that room or something like that, and that's how Cletus keeps getting in the house.
That also leads to another moment that Okay, so Cletus is not supernatural. He could be easily killed, as proved by the end of the movie. They have 2 chances to kill him, Jay. The first chance is during the moment we're talking about now, where they're like, oh my god, he's climbing up the lattice, and he's coming to the window that doesn't latch. You have a shotgun. He's climbing up. He's completely helpless. Just shoot him.
I agree. But no, so they're all kind of like watching out, looking for him.
But no, they run out of the room and let him climb.
and Jerry, or Joe goes off to like find the keys, and the only flashlight that works is one of those ones that you have to like screw wind up.
It's got the crank on it.
And so he goes off. He's able to get like the power back on in the house, but as he's trying to get the power back on, Cletus splits Scott's head in two with the axe, but then doesn't go after anyone else as everyone else is screaming.
Well, it's because, Jay, we have to build some more tension for him to come back again later.
The family then runs and hides in the garage as Joe goes to get the car. Jenny starts to give birth as they run back inside the house, even though they were all safe in the garage. Mm-hmm. And Joe gets in the car and Cletus strangles him in there.
Also, again, making absolutely no sense, but whatever.
Diane reveals to Peter who Cletus is.
Which we all already knew.
Yep. Which, I don't know, make it a mystery. And that she didn't want to raise another child with Down syndrome while her husband was dying.
You know what would have really made this movie work a lot better? If they hadn't shown him being rescued from the abortion clinic at the beginning.
Right. I think that, or you splice that in at this moment.
No, I'm saying like show her going in, getting the abortion and the bomb going off. And then, later on when she's like, she has the realization, and then it could flash back to him being saved by the bomber.
Diane discovers Cletus is trying to enter the house by climbing up the lattice. So instead of shooting him with the shotgun,
they run out of the room.
She goes out to pull it down. And her plan involves using people's cell phones that she's hidden around the house to distract Cletus.
A ridiculously convoluted plan that makes absolutely no sense, because you easily just could have shot him. Or you could have even taken the gun outside and shot him while he's climbing up. Just shot him in the back.
She tries to use an anchor to pull the lattice down on the house, which, it comes back later, I guess. And I guess it's supposed to be the symbolism of the anchor that weighed D. Wallace down her whole life later on.
Uh-huh. Sure.
That's me grasping at straws. The sheriff arrives, but only the sheriff, even though they mentioned that literally someone had arrived to kill one of their kids.
There's a dangerous maniac on the loose, so they would never send just one person.
We get an instrumental Joy to the World as the sheriff is arriving, which is kind of neat because you think oh, everyone's safe. And then Cletus kills the sheriff by wrapping a bear trap around his head and just the blood spraying everywhere.
Again, yet another kill that seems like it belongs in a comedy.
Jerry and Peter try to shoot Cletus but completely miss him.
No, Jay. You're underselling this. They do this in the worst way possible. So a shotgun is not heavy. I've held many of them. He props it on Jerry's shoulder. And if you know anything about how loud a gun is, that is going to make you completely deaf if it goes off that close to your head. And he aims it on the shoulder, shoots, and completely misses.
And then Jerry runs off screaming
Yes,
because like
he's
a
deaf
shotgun
now.
just went off by
Yes, he
his
can't
ears.
hear anything. His ears are ringing with tinnitus. And yes, so it was a complete waste of time when all he had to do, Peter could have literally just lifted the gun and shot him. That would be that.
Diane tries to radio for help in the police car, but Cletus kind of corners her, but she's able to escape back into the house. This is where we see Cletus getting in through the window.
Again.
Yep. And he has a bit of a knockdown, drag out fight with Peter. And like it looks like he's kind of got Peter like ready to kill him. And so Peter starts like reciting the Lord's Prayer, and Cletus starts reciting it with him. So then like Peter's like, "Oh, you pray, Cletus?" And like, "How about we pray together, you know, as family?" And so he starts like praying, and he mentions, this is where he mentions the thing about like, Diane, like just didn't want to raise another child with Down syndrome, this time by herself. And Jerry is also in the room. So Jerry hears this and and that will come back later. Peter, like while he's praying, and he kind of sneaks his hand away, grabs a knife, tries to stab Cletus with it. I think maybe successfully stabs Cletus with it.
It's implied he successfully stabbed.
And then they start fighting again. And this time Cletus basically forces his head backwards onto a blender that's running. And we get this great kill where the blender like goes in through the back of Peter's head. And then like you see it like spinning around in his eyeball.
But you also got to wonder at this point, okay, so doing the Lord's Prayer and talking to him about what was wrong with him calmed him down and he stopped trying to kill him. Why didn't he just keep rolling with that?
Right.
Why try to stab him?
That might have worked.
I mean, he's a priest, but he does not behave like a priest at all. It's like you think he would try the non-violent method first before resorting to trying to stab him.
Jerry confronts Diane about the Down syndrome, and the Cletus, thinking that Jerry also wanted to abort her, and Diane's kind of straight. No, like, you don't understand the situation. Your father was dying. I didn't want to do it by myself. Yeah. But, Jerry takes it really hard. Cletus and Jerry, like, it kind of implies they're going to have a face-off,
I guess.
But we don't really see it happen. Diane kind of arrives. She's talking to who she thinks is Jerry, because it's this person wearing Jerry's Santa hat that he wears throughout the whole movie. And then she hears like someone running down the hall, so she turns and shoots in that direction. Oops, she shot Jerry. And the person wearing the Santa hat was Cletus.
Oh, but she successfully shoots Jerry, but you know who she doesn't successfully shoot? Cletus, even though she fired off 6 rounds at close range at him. You know the odds of not hitting him at least once?
I know. We see Cletus's like monstrous visage for one split second.
It's terrible.
I think the mask looks great.
I thought it looked terrible.
He's got like asymmetrical eyes, like
his
big
mouth,
fangs, a deformed skull.
They did what they could, but his mouth doesn't even move when he talks.
Jeez. She then like tackles him as he's as he asks her why she keeps killing her children or trying to kill her children, because she shot Jerry as well. And they kind of fight and they battle their way outside. And she's able to stab him with the anchor. And meanwhile, Ginny's baby is born, and Diane hears it like as she kind of has the upper hand on Cletus, and then he's able to overpower her and strangles her with the chain of the anchor, yelling about, tell me that you love me.
This also raises another problem. So Cletus seems inhumanly strong throughout the entire movie, except for the end where he has to wrestle with an old woman. And then it seems like it's a fair contest.
Susie, Jenny's baby being born, runs out to help her mom and gets Silent Night, Deadly Night 2'd with an umbrella.
Yep.
Another great kill, great blood, but it's a very silly moment. Like,
yes, it's like it does not fit the tone at all.
And I think it's even sillier than the one in Silent Night, Deadly Night 2. Silent Night, Deadly Night 2, it's implied that Eric Freeman is so strong that he can just shove the umbrella through her. Right. This one, the lady must have been running so fast that the umbrella stabbed her.
Impaled herself on it, I guess.
And then enough to open up afterwards.
It's just, again, these kills, while they're technically good kills, they feel like they don't belong in this movie.
Cletus gets into the house and he goes to find Jenny and her newborn baby.
This is like the 5th time he's come in the house, by the way.
Yep. Jenny's trying to hide from him. She hides in like a large stuffed bunny rabbit. Cletus stabs and kills Jenny and then prepares to kill the baby. And as in one split second, Diane arrives, yells, "Fuck you," stabs Cletus with the anchor again, launches herself out the window, hanging herself with a dummy that looks... We haven't seen a dummy this bad since the one in To All a Good Night at the beginning of that movie.
I don't know. What about that one in Terror Train, Jay?
Oh, true.
That's pretty good, too.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. But yeah, the dummy falls, and then when you see Diane's feet dangling, they're lower to the ground than the dummy's feet were.
Yep.
But then Cletus falls out behind her. So what's holding Diane's body up in the window in the first place?
Jeez, like almost didn't make any sense at all, Jay.
And then the baby's left crying alone in the house as we see kind of all the aftermath, all the blood, all the gore, and then like the baby's lying on the bed as, you know, red and blue sirens approach, and apparently backup did arrive, and then just the credits roll, and that's the end of the movie.
Boo.
It was something else.
It was what I don't want to really say this, but I'm going to anyway, Jay. Much like Cletus, this movie did not need to exist. So, and "Oh Little Town of Bethlehem" is playing over those, of course,
end credits, which is great. Anything you want to say before we get into our categories?
Yes, Jay. Boo.
Boo. All right. Let's. Anything you want to start with in particular?
Yeah, let's start with the Christmas spirit of the thing, Jay.
All right. How Christmassy is the movie? How Christmassy are the kills?
Well, you want to go first or me?
I'll go first. The kills, I mean, not really. The only one that felt remotely Christmassy at all was the one that was taken directly out of Silent Night, Deadly Night 2.
Yep, I agree.
But the movie, honestly, like with the lighting and the music cues and stuff like that, you know, Jerry wearing the Santa hat the whole time. He wears a Christmas sweater. Hope is wearing some kind of Christmas shirt, but you can't really get a good read on what it says. No. You know, the lights and everything, it looks really Christmassy. The thing that's really holding it back, I would say even the lights are Black Christmas 2006 level, really good lighting. The thing holding it back is it's Australia, so there's no fucking snow on the ground.
Mm-hmm. No, I would say it's a little more Christmassy than a flat mediocre rating, so I'm going to give it like a 3 out of 5 on the Christmas scale. Because, yes, it does have a lot of good Christmas elements, but yes, the lack of snow really holds it back. And just, it feels like the attitude of the people is not very Christmassy. I don't know if that makes sense to anybody, but it doesn't seem like it's Christmas, like the way they behave with each other. They give each other gifts, yes, but that's like a little token moment at the beginning.
Right, like I feel like, you know, you're supposed to feel like in Krampus, where like, oh, this family's bickering, like, you know, it's Christmas time, the family's getting together, but it doesn't even fit that. It's just kind of like, that's not, you know, there's no platitudes really given to anybody at all.
It just kind of, it felt like, you know, we're getting together for a weekend or whatever, and Mom's got a big announcement to make that she's taking this world trip or whatever.
Right. And yeah, instead, you know, yeah, you could just set it whenever. It doesn't have to be a Christmas movie. Which we'll get into apparently why it's a Christmas movie when we do our final ratings. Anything else you want to mention for that category?
Not really. I mean, the only Christmassy kill I got, other than the one you mentioned already, was for whatever reason to me, since we've seen so many kitchen-based kills in these movies, the blender one felt a little Christmassy.
But I would also argue, I mean, we have 2 axe kills, which, I mean, once again, axe kills are, I guess, kind of Christmassy.
I guess. These feel kind of goofy, though.
Yeah, they really do. I mean, we get someone being cut in half, just like in Terrifier, a movie I've not seen. Someday. Well, I mean, probably this year, because we're going to have to. Yeah. We're doing Terrifier 3 in theaters, probably.
We're going to have to.
All right. Well, let's move on to Broken Bulb, Brilliant Bulb. One thing you want to fix in the movie, one thing you want to praise.
You want to go first or me?
I'll go first. My Broken Bulb, one thing I want to fix, the Cletus reveal. We've kind of talked about this already, but I don't know. It feels like we know who Cletus is. Like we've seen the beginning of the movie. We've kind of got it all figured out.
It's painfully obvious.
And you know, even if like you don't kind of guess it from the opening of the movie, by the way Diane reacts at the end, like when Cletus leaves the house, you have it all figured out who Cletus is.
And they still drag it out for another hour after that.
Right. Like it takes forever. Either have it be a mystery the whole time, or
have it just be revealed.
Or just have it be revealed at that moment. Like, don't have everyone acting like a fucking moron for like an additional like 45 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I wonder who Cletus was. Like, no, we all know. Like, just reveal it. Mm-hmm. So yeah, that's the thing I would fix.
My broken bulb was bad case of horror movie amnesia, which is kind of along the same vein. The people in this movie, even for a horror movie, behave completely irrationally, and it really just sucks out any tension out of the movie because you see multiple times they could have escaped the situation, multiple times they could have just killed Cletus and been done with it, yet they make the decision to like run away from him or let him be alone, turn their back on him or whatever and have a conversation. And it's like, this is like, this is like C-tier slasher stuff.
All right. Well, brilliant bulb. Thing to praise. For me, the camera work. Everything looks beautiful. It's incredibly well shot. Well lit. It's, even for points where like it's very dark, like there's very little light. You can tell who's talking, and it looks fantastic.
Brilliant bulb for me were the effects. Even though the kills are goofy as hell, most of them, I really liked the gore effects. I thought they did a good job, like we talked about earlier. The things they weren't able to show, they were able to imply in other ways that makes you know what happened, like the feet falling separately instead of showing her completely cut in half. I thought all the kills were pretty good, except for the really goofy anchor kill at the end. The effects were still good, like when he gets stabbed with the anchor and stuff, but it's just, that one had a little too much of the goof factor, even for me to take it remotely seriously. And yet again, how strong is D. Wallace in this movie, Jay? And so is Cletus not super strong? Because it's implied that he is, like ripping a guy's dick off with one hand and stuff like that. But then at the end, they fight like they're evenly matched, and then she's able to recover from seemingly a mortal wound, lift an anchor, stab it through him, and drag him out the window. And
disembowel him when she does it.
It's like weird power levels for these people, but whatever.
When I mentioned the camera work, Jeff, I believe there's something you wanted to tell me about the camera work.
Oh yeah, Jay. You know how this is shot really well, like a professional cinematographer did this?
Yes, that's yeah.
It's just really cool. It reminded me when his name popped up in the credits of one of my favorite movies of all time, Jack Shack 5: The Bone Zone. Turns out this guy usually does porn, Jay.
It really does explain the whole movie when you told me that. Like,
honestly, great work. I would not have guessed that he was a porn cinematographer and director normally, but it does make a lot of sense now for some of these things. I wonder if that was why that reference Jerry saying he needs a cream pie was thrown in, and the girls just kind of laughed to each other.
Oh man. Yeah, there is a scene where like Jerry keeps getting cream pies out of the.
No, he's like he's going in off the deck, and he's like, "I need another cream pie," and the girls just look at each other like, "I bet you do, Jerry."
Oh man, but no, that's it was like, because we were watching the movie and you kept pointing out how like we both kept pointing out like it looks really good, the colors really pop, everything's really vibrant, like this is insane, like this is really well shot. And then you were like, oh, I got something to I think you said to me, you were like, oh, what do you think the guy did? And I was like, oh, he was I was thinking, oh, it's Australia, he was involved with maybe like one of the Lord of the Rings movies, worked with Peter Jackson, something like that. And you're like, no, he did porn.
Yeah. I couldn't believe it when I looked it up. I was like, really? Jack Shack? Not just Jack Shack 5 Bone Zone, the best one.
All 5 Jack Shacks.
Also the other 4.
Oh, man. Amazing.
Lots of different porns, actually. Is that the plural of porn movies, Jay? Porns?
Yeah, porns. I've been in many porns. I've not.
Yeah, he has. Look it up. Jay Logsdon stars in the Bone Zone.
I believe my porn name is Ted Mosby, sex architect. Oh, what a bad show! What a bad show to reference on our bad podcast. All right, let's move on to Christmas wrapping, outfits, sets, effects, etc. I don't know. I know you and I are both kind of are both different on Cletus's monstrous appearance. I thought he looked really neat, but
he doesn't look terrible. I won't say he looks terrible. he looks kind of goofy to me, and having him talk after the reveal, I think, was a bad choice if you're not going to make his jaw move.
And then they immediately have him put like the ropes back
Yes.
on, so you never see the
like,
monster face again.
It was an odd choice. I'm like, either keep him wrapped up the whole time, or maybe have it be like when he gets thrown out the window on the anchor, maybe his stuff like gets ripped off of him, and then you actually see what he looks like as he's hanging there dead.
I think another cool thing to have done would have been, you have people see what he looks like, but we never see what he looks like.
That'd also be good.
I think that's always a fun trick to do in horror movies.
I got the feeling he was trying to do something like a Sam in Trick or Treat, but it didn't really work out.
Right. As I mentioned, Jerry's Argyle Christmas sweater with like reindeer on it and his Santa hat. Just a great looking in this movie. Like, he is the most Christmassy person in the movie.
No, I agree. For whatever reason, I like Joe's costumes.
Joe's just like wearing just like a hat, like a flannel shirt.
He looks like what I picture a typical Australian lounging around the house as.
All the gore effects, though, fantastic. They look great.
I agree. I made sure to praise those because honestly, that's one of the saddest things about this movie to me. There's people who are clearly trying, like in the art department, in the effects department. I mean, great cinematography, like we already said, good lighting, good performances from some, not so great from others, but that's usually always a mixed bag. But all in service of a plot that's just like nonsense.
No, like Dee Wallace, like a lot of the actors I think do a pretty competent job. Yeah, some are better than others, but like Dee Wallace feels like a mother, like grappling with choices she's made and trying to protect her family. Which this is the lady from Cujo, so of course she has history doing that. But like, she does great, but it's just not served well with a script that was what it was.
Saying it's like all this effort and service, all this budget. I believe we said we were thinking at the same thing. Imagine if Mike Lombardo had $200,000
right
to make his movie.
But back to outfits or stuff like that. Like, even though like I haven't commented on everyone's, like I said, like people are wearing like floral print and like stuff like that, and it all like Dee Wallace wears like a purple sweater, and it all like just pops in this movie. Everyone's outfit really has just like bright, vibrant colors, and it just looks so good. Like the costuming department did a fantastic job.
No, it's like I said. Unfortunately, the support staff for this movie did a great job. It was the writing. Well, I guess Craig Anderson we have to blame for that.
Was maybe the big letdown, which is unfortunate. But let's do our Christmas Carol, our favorite quotes. Do you have one you want to use?
Well, when she's talking about she's going to take a trip, and she's going to leave Jerry, and they're like, you're going to just put Jerry in a home? And he's like, it's an assisted living facility, thank you very much, and I'm working in the cafeteria. And Joe's like, yeah, cafeteria Jerry.
Yeah.
Gives it a fist bump.
I think they high five. It's great. I'm going to get to my favorite one at the end. We're going to do a countdown to my favorite quote in the whole movie. So Susie, Jenny's being a spoiled little brat. Jenny, and as per usual, Susie's being a real cunt.
I also had that one. I like that. I had the father. I dropped my keys. I was just looking for them, and he's like, Joe's like, you dropped your keys upstairs, and you're looking for them down here. And he's like, I just dropped them. He's like, whatever you say, Padre.
Another Joe quote. I would like to pray to my personal God, medical marijuana.
Excellent.
Hells yeah, Joe. And my number one quote, if you don't have any others.
No, I don't.
Is the random farmer that Cletus kills and rips his dick off. I reckon I ought to put you out of your misery. Unzips pants. There's just an unzipping noise, and Jeff and I turn to each other like, is he gonna fuck him to death?
That's what I was thinking.
And then I watched this movie with my wife, waiting for this scene. The farmer goes, I ought to put you out of your misery, and unzips his pants, and my wife goes, is he about to fuck Cletus?
That's what it's implied as.
And then he starts pissing on him. So I don't know, but it's just very strange.
It is. I mean, you just gotta wonder. when they were writing this, well, obviously, mostly Craig Anderson was writing this script. What was he thinking?
I don't. Is that just a custom? Maybe it's lost in translation. Maybe Australians piss on each other all the time.
No, I don't think they do, Jay. I don't think they do.
If we have any Australian listeners, write in. Are you constantly pissing on people you don't like? Like,
I mean, we just saw a great Australian horror movie, Talk to Me. This is nothing like that.
I don't know. Maybe they just cut all the pissing out. I don't know.
Oh yeah, maybe we got the non-piss cut for the U.S.
Yeah, in the U.S. we got the non-piss cut, just like Katz's butthole cut. Release the butthole cut.
Oh boy. Well, I mean, if they're gonna release the Snyder cut, they might as well release the butthole.
Yeah,
cut.
let's release a good movies cut instead of a bad movies cut.
And let Peter Jackson release his like 3-hour longer version of Lord of the Rings too. While we're at it,
Oh, that'd be great.
release the director's cut.
All right. Well, do you want to move on to final rating?
I suppose.
Every episode of Horror for the Holidays, we like to rate the movie we watched on one of 3 categories. Is it ho-ho-hilarious? Is it seasonally scary? Or is it you'll be sorry? Jeff?
No, Jay, I want to hear what your thoughts are on this before I reveal my thoughts.
All right. You'll be sorry.
Damn, we're the same.
This movie wants to be Black Christmas so bad, but it just isn't. The name is similar. The subject matter with regards to abortion is similar. Even the climbing up the lattice on the house is a thing from Black Christmas. Mm-hmm. Literally in Matt Dupay's book, there's an interview with Craig Anderson where he says, yeah, I saw Black Christmas and I wanted to make a black... My Australian sounds like a British person, so I'll just do a thing. I saw Black Christmas and I wanted to make a movie that was like Black Christmas. And it's like, but Black Christmas is a masterpiece of the horror genre, in my opinion.
Oh, mate, I saw me a Black Christmas and I was like, oh, I could do that. That's also British.
And it is also British. But you didn't remake Black Christmas. Like, in Black Christmas, they don't broach the subject in the same way, and it's well shot. The killer's in the house the whole time. This one, no, it's just like there's a mystery in Black Christmas. There's no mystery in this. Like, what's going on. It's just goofy, weird stuff. I think there's a lot to like about this movie. The actors, like we said, are all great. The music cues are amazing. And as I mentioned, like the lighting effects, the camera work, all really, really good. But I find all the characters irritating and not in a fun way like Thanksgiving, where, you found them all irritating, but I'm like, I can't wait to see these people die. No, I just don't care about these people.
Yes, there's a big difference between hating someone and being indifferent to them and hating them and wanting to see them get what they deserve. And yes, this movie does not pull off that at all.
I wouldn't say that like this is the worst movie we've watched. Far from it. Like like I've said, there's a lot of really, really good things. It just bored me so much, and as always, like being bored is like my biggest no-no. But I mean, if you really do want to watch it, I'm not going to steer you away from it. Like, we've certainly done much worse movies that I would say no, don't watch that. I think this is a you'll be sorry. I can't recommend. There are fun kills, and that's worth watching for. And it's fun for like some of the dialogue, but it's not. At the end of the day, it's a you'll be sorry.
You'll be sorry. At the top of my review and my notes, I just put boring with a million O's, but my more nuanced review is boring. No, basically everything that Jay said holds true for me. I would say this is basically what I thought without even, because I don't have a copy of Matt's book, unfortunately.
We'll have to fix that. We'll order another one.
But basically I thought, so a guy watched Black Christmas and he watched Silent Night, Deadly Night, and he's like, hey, I could do that. But he couldn't do that. He couldn't do that at all. And honestly, it's a little heartbreaking to see all the effort that went into this movie and the budget that went into this movie be wasted on it. Like all these people in the supporting roles that wasted their time and energy on a plot this bad, this nonsensical. And it feels very derivative, because I saw a lot of people online that reviewed it, even though there's shockingly few reviews for a movie that got a fairly mainstream release. They were like, oh, it feels fresh and innovative. It was like, I felt the complete opposite. It felt like tired. like we'd seen this a million times before.
And like maybe in 2016 it was, but in 2024 it's not.
I mean, it wasn't, because Silent Night, Deadly Night, and Black Christmas had been out for what, 50 years basically at that point.
And you know, Black Christmas 2006 had come out 10 years earlier and did a lot of the same
Style of thing, yes. Even down to the weird robed up killer. I mean, it feels very derivative. The tone does not fit at all. Like, you go into a scene, you're expecting it to be serious, and it's completely goofy, but the actors still treat it like it's supposed to be serious, and the kills are, like, well-executed kills from a technical standpoint, but do not fit or serve the movie at all. The way that Dee Wallace treats her aborted son makes absolutely no sense, because it's like, yeah, she didn't want to raise him, but, I mean, at this point, he's already grown up, and it's like, so you really just don't love your son at all? I mean, that's all he was fishing for when he came to the house at the beginning. Honestly, I think if they were nicer to him at the beginning, he wouldn't have killed anybody.
Oh, no, that's absolutely what would have happened.
And the multiple points, even after you make that choice, you know, so we're going to kill him, we're going to have this confrontation. There's so many opportunities they could have killed him and escaped, or just waited for help to arrive, because they were completely safe all together. They could have just waited. But they choose to, like, roam around. They give Cletus a million chances to survive for some reason. And Cletus's power level fluctuates wildly from being, like, a superhuman monster to being too weak to wrestle an old woman. I mean, it just doesn't make any sense. And, like, the choices that people make really give you that sense of, oh, yeah, this is definitely a cliched horror movie. Because, like, Peter setting the gun on Jerry's shoulder and shooting it for absolutely no reason to get Jerry out of the scene, basically. It's like, why? Why would you do that? The whole, she can't shoot Cletus at close range with like 6 shots, but then she just nails Jerry by accident in the hallway. It's like, really? It's like, you could have had a much more satisfying end. You know what would have been a good, satisfying conclusion for this movie? Have Jenny survive. Have the baby survive. Have Dee Wallace's character survive. Have it be Jerry that sacrifices himself and kills Cletus, protecting his mom. And then it could have been like a full circle thing, like the boy you loved and raised or whatever saved you from the one that you gave away.
Right. No, I think that's a great idea. That would have been awesome.
That would have been a better ending and a more poignant message for the movie, I think. But no, it's just this horrible thing we got. Do not watch this. I say the kill. If you want to see the kills, just look up a compilation on YouTube.
All right. Well, there you have it. Let's take Cletus, put him on our naughty list.
I mean, he's got to be low.
So this is what I wanted to say. Like, once again, this movie wants to be Black Christmas, so let's let it be Black Christmas. We'll put this directly below 1974's Billy. Mm-hmm. And there you go. Like, I agree. Even though I think he has more kills, he's just less interesting, less fun, like less creepy.
Less. I mean, he definitely has. He's not as strong as Billy in Black Christmas because he literally gets wrestled and killed by an old woman.
Yeah. So yeah, well, that was going to be my argument. Was I'm like, it wants to be Black Christmas, let's make it Black Christmas.
Yeah. No, it just. I mean, I think the only people he could probably take on our naughty list would be like Terrence Shade and maybe Brooklyn Santa.
Ho ho ho. Maybe the Nutcracker from Nutcracker Massacre.
Maybe, I don't know. That'd be kind of close. They kind of behave in the same awkward ways. He's climbing up the lattice. Oh my God! Scene that reminded me of the Nutcracker climbing the stairs. Scene.
Also, I think he could maybe take Santa Claus CLAWS.
Yeah, that'd be another close matchup, but he might be able to win that. But like, I mean, if we even put in a halfway competent, like Billy Chapman stomps. 4 Birds Santa obliterates this guy with no trouble at all.
No, I agree. So yeah, let's clean out our email inbox in a segment we like to call
Garbage Day. Huh? No.
Garbin' time. It's garbin' time.
It's garbin' time.
And then he garbed all over the place. You know when Madam Web said it's webbing time, and then she webbed all over the place?
Is that what happened?
Yeah.
I know you went and saw it.
Oh, my God.
All right. Well, Jeff, we got an email, but I also wanted to do something this week because I was at the grocery store, and I went, oh we got to do that. So
No.
If you want to...
no, if we have an email, Jay, I'm not supposed to have to drink or eat anything.
Well, too bad. We're doing both.
Oh, God. The rules have been subverted again.
These rules I make myself.
Yeah, there's no spirit from beyond the grave to punish us.
All right, so let me open my email. If you want to go grab 2 of those cups from that top shelf, if
the
you
Krampus
can.
shelf. Yes, I can. Let me remove my headphones. Jay Logsdon making me do things.
You're welcome. And I'll open the old... Oh, Jeff's dropping stuff.
I dropped the mask. 1 Krampus cup. 2 Krampus cup. I will now retrieve the mask. The mask is saved.
Perfect. I'll open
I
the
have
old Joe
returned.
Bob cooler.
Oh no. It's never a good sign when it's in there.
We've got a Coca-Cola Move.
Oh,
I don't know if this is any good or not.
I don't think it will be, but we'll
And then
try.
I've also got... I think the Coca-Cola Move's from like a year ago, so we'll see how it is. And then I've also got Coca-Cola Spiced, which I saw at the grocery store the other day. So which one do you want to try first?
We're going spiced.
All right, I'll open the Move.
The move, it's not calling to me. The wrapper looks weird, Jay. I don't like it.
It's like when I bought that Space Coca-Cola and made your wife drink it with me. The Move smells like Coca-Cola with coconut added to it.
The spiced smells like... you ever had that sparkling dragon fruit drink from Taco Bell?
No, because I only get Baja Blast.
Well, it smells like that, if you ever know what that smelled like.
The Move tastes like coconut Coca-Cola, but also like I said, it might be close to a year old, so it might not be very good.
The spiced really tastes like nothing.
I do really like the smell of the spice.
It has a great smell, but it doesn't really taste like much.
No, man, I feel like I've smelled this Coca-Cola spice smell before, and I can't just put my finger on it because I know I haven't had that thing at Taco Bell you're talking about. But I think it reminds me of a Yankee Candle.
Well, that's an interesting smell for a drink.
I think it reminds me of the Christmas Eve Yankee Candle from like I think the scent is called Christmas Eve. It's like a red one. It's my favorite Yankee Candle smell.
Yep, coconut Coke. But yeah, you go ahead and try that spice, but I'm not tasting much.
No, it's like almost like a watered down Coke.
I know.
Like,
it smells great, but yeah, the taste is just not there.
yeah, there's no real taste to it. But yeah, it's like a red Coke bottle with a pink kind of wavy spiced logo kind of going around. Interesting.
The Coke Move is like a pink and white logo meeting halfway in the middle. And despite the logo being weird, it does smell and taste like coconut. So
Do you want to rank these and then we'll get into our email?
yeah, I mean it's easy ranking for me. Spiced at the bottom, great smell but no taste. Coconut smells like coconut, tastes like coconut.
I agree. I don't think either of these are the best.
No.
But it's fun to try, just kind of neat stuff. All right, we got another email from our buddy Spencer.
Oh boy, our number one fan.
Our number one fan. Hey, Jay and Jeff. I'm gonna hold on. I might move my microphone here.
Uh-oh. Technical difficulties.
That way I can read and speak into the microphone. I played your Garbage Day segment featuring my emails. I assume he means like for his wife, but it doesn't. But there's a missing set of words here.
It's probably for his wife, yeah.
I played your Garbage Day segment featuring my emails, and she said there is a fine line between being a number one fan and stalking. However, I consider Misery to be a Christmas horror film because of the winter setting and its Thanksgiving Christmas release date. So being your number one fan is a compliment to me. I think something got missed in translation here somewhere. I should explain that she is a horror fan, but has watched quite a few horror films with me out of love. She is not a horror fan, but she has watched quite a few horror films with me out of love. I had to email you guys to tell you how awesome the Stocking Stuffers episode about Silent Night, Deadly Night comic books were. Definitely keep those episodes coming along with any other Christmas horror novels you've read and recommend. I can't believe no one else emailed or DM'd you to let you know how hilarious those comics were, and your quips on them made me laugh many times. As always, keep up the great work and crank those episodes out on a weekly basis. The horror community needs quality content like Horror for the Holidays. If we're quality content.
Oh. Yeah, the horror community is in a sad state, Jay. We have to save it.
Oh boy, when they ask when everyone else has failed, they ask the two fat guys in Iowa to save the horror community.
And we looked up and said, no.
P.S. Shamrock Shakes for Jeff St. Patrick's Day Garbage Day snack.
Ah, I guess.
Spencer, we'll see.
Spencer requested it, so I suppose.
We'll see if Uncle O'Grimacy pays us a visit.
No, you know he will.
Oh, love Grimace. You know, one of my friend Chris, his wife, for whatever reason, hates the fact that I love Grimace, and so we've got this weird rivalry about a food mascot that neither of us care about, but we keep arguing about it anyway.
That sounds like a great friendship, Jay.
It's great. I've threatened to because I'll go over to his place and watch wrestling, or he'll come over here, and I've threatened to buy a bunch of cheap Grimace toys and just hide them around their house at various times.
You should do it.
I've thought about it.
But thank you for your email, Spencer. We're going to try and keep the weekly content rolling out on schedule. Yeah, it was kind of surprising to me there weren't more people interested in the Silent Night, Deadly Night comics.
But I mean, whatever.
Yeah.
The Flophouse, my favorite podcast, and one half of kind of the inspiration to do this show ourselves. They do kind of they do kind of a similar schedule to us, where it's a release and then they kind of do a mini episode. And they've kind of mentioned too that sometimes the mini episodes don't get as many reviews or views as the mainline episodes, but it's whatever. I'm not really that broken up about it. It was more just to have fun and talk about how bad a job we do on this show.
Yeah, that is fun. What did we miss anything?
I did want to say Spencer was the person who emailed us about the New Jersey thing.
Yes.
And about that convention. Jeff is waiting to hear back about a job.
Yes, my work situation is gonna have to be figured out before I can figure if we can go there or not.
And so yeah, as soon as we know, hopefully we'll talk about it on the podcast. And
may just have to send Jay Logsdon as on the ground reporter.
But certainly if we do go, we'll release a whole episode about our trip.
Oh, we definitely, that'll be a stocking stuffer for sure.
Oh, that's one absolutely. The other thing I did want to say is we're going to try to keep weekly content going. It is spring break approaching, so I am going out of town, so we might run into a slight hiccup, but we're going to try and get something figured out.
Well, if worse comes to worse, I can always do Crazy Horror Conspiracies for Movies Part 2, and then I'll just pretend like Jay's here, and I'll get one of those AI voices to say Jay Logsdon type things.
Or we could just hook up the microphone to the Jack Frost and just have him respond to the things you say.
Yes, that could also work as
his
a good concept.
his six sound effects on repeat. But we'll figure it out. We got a couple weeks to get that all nailed down. But otherwise, if you want to send us an email for our Garbage Day segment,
once again, Spencer, #1 fan. If you want to knock him out of that spot, you're gonna have to try really hard.
Send us an email, horrorfortheholidays@gmail.com. Get in touch with us on social media: TikTok, Instagram, Blue Sky, Threads, X/Twitter. We are at horror4holidays.
YouTube.com/horror for the holidays. Check in on that YouTube channel, subscribe, hit the little bell. That's the actual subscription button. Leave us a comment on there. Let us know what you think about our topics. Stocking Stuffers comment section would be a great place to leave any ideas for things you want us to talk about. Because Stocking Stuffers is our pretty much we do whatever we want format show. So if you got something you want to hear our opinions on, drop it in there and we'll definitely consider it.
Or yeah, if you've tried some of the stuff we've tried, food wise or whatever, let us know your thoughts. Or if there's, when we did those Christmas beers, if you have some weird Christmas beers in your town, let us know about those.
Oh yeah, no, we really need to get a PO box set up or something so people can send us weird Christmas things.
Yeah, I've been thinking about that too. We'll work to get that figured out. But yeah, as soon as we have a PO box, we'll put that somewhere so people can know about that as well. But otherwise, we'll see you again next week with the Stocking Stuffer. Also leave a review on your podcatcher. That's also a thing.
Always helpful. 5 stars, Apple Podcasts. Jeff and Jay, quit being fat and drinking into the microphones.
Jeff and Jay, how about you make your own movie instead of talking about bad movies? Well, I mean, as they say, those who can't do teach. So...
Well, I've never held to that criticism, Jay. That'd be like, oh, you're not a 5-star chef, so you can't say food sucks.
No, I you're right, but that's why I eat Taco Bell.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with Taco Bell.
Taco Bell's great.
It's serviceable.
I'm a big Taco Bell fan. I get no. We're not going to get into it. We're going to get into it. I get offended when people imply that Taco Bell gives them the shits. Like Taco Bell's not giving you the shits. Stop it.
Yes, it's because when you go to Taco Bell, the food is so cheap, you buy too much, and that gives you the shits.
And I think for some of the people, it's the lack of dietary fiber in their diet.
Yes, because the Taco Bell food adds beans, rice, other things that some of you people don't normally eat.
Anyway, now that we got that,
It's a non-Cheeto based product.
If you know what, if we do go to wind up going to New Jersey, maybe we'll bring some Barntown beers with us. So,
that'd be nice.
So people can try those. But yeah, also tell a friend about this show. I mean, they probably wouldn't like it, especially listening to what we've just talked about for the last 2 minutes. But tell them maybe one of the good episodes we did, and tell them to start with one of those.
Yeah. No, honestly, what do you think that's a good question to end this on, Jay. What do you think would be a good horror for the holidays episode to give somebody as their first one? Honestly,
I think the best episode we've done, and in my short-term memory, probably Silent Night, Deadly Night 2. But that's because that's a recent one. There was one a while ago where I went, I think this is our best episode, but now I don't remember what it is.
I really liked our Leech episode. So if you need an episode on that, a positive episode, I'd say give them the Leech. If you want a good negative episode, Krampus the Christmas Devil. I think it's one of our best negative episodes.
There you go. So that's from us. Hell, use the comment section and let us know what your favorite episode or least favorite episode is. But yeah, otherwise we'll see you hopefully next week for a stocking stuffer.
Oh, we will. It's going to happen. Something will come out.
Yeah. Thanks for listening.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Oh, Noble, stop biting my leg.